Kharkiv, a major city in northeastern Ukraine, has always stood at the crossroads of history. Its streets and squares have witnessed centuries of change, from imperial times to the modern era. Once, the city was known for its lively atmosphere, where the hum of daily life blended with the sounds of trams and laughter in bustling cafes. For generations, Kharkiv has been a beacon of culture, science, and industry. Its universities attracted students from across the world, while theaters and museums showcased the city's creative spirit. The city's architecture, a blend of old and new, reflected its dynamic growth and cosmopolitan character. But today, the city's vibrant pulse has been interrupted. Once bustling with students and artists, its vibrant streets now echo with the sounds of war, sirens, distant explosions, and the determined footsteps of those who remain. The familiar corners and landmarks are now marked by scars of conflict. Just 30 kilometers from the Russian border, Kharkiv's location has made it a frontline city since the invasion began in 2022. Its proximity means that the threat is never far away, and the city has become a symbol of both vulnerability and resistance. Residents have little warning before attacks, forcing them to adapt quickly. Everyday routines, going to work, shopping for groceries, taking children to school, have become acts of courage. The city's subway stations and basements have turned into shelters, where families wait out the danger together. For nearly 4 years, Kharkiv has endured relentless missile and drone strikes. Homes, schools, and historic landmarks have been damaged or destroyed, leaving behind shattered windows and broken dreams. Yet, the city's heart continues to beat, even amid the ruins. Despite the constant danger, many residents have chosen to stay. They adapt to a new normal, defined by resilience and solidarity. Volunteers deliver food and medicine, neighbors help each other repair shattered homes, and families find moments of comfort even underground. Kharkiv stands as a powerful symbol of Ukrainian defiance. Its people support one another, holding on to hope and pride in their city. Community efforts to rebuild and clean up after attacks show a determination to preserve their way of life. The city is not just a strategic point on the map, it's a living, breathing community that refuses to be broken. Markets reopen, children play among the ruins, and life, in all its fragility, goes on. Through unimaginable hardship, Kharkiv's spirit endures. Its people mourn their losses, but they also celebrate small victories and moments of peace, determined to reclaim the life they once knew. The story of Kharkiv is one of strength and unity on the front line, a city holding fast to its identity, its dreams, and its hope for a brighter future. On Friday, January 2, 2026, Kharkiv's morning began with a fragile sense of normalcy. The city, still scarred from months of conflict, was slowly coming back to life. People ventured out into the chilly dawn, heading to work, school, or simply to run errands, hoping for a peaceful start to the new year. The streets buzzed with cautious optimism, as if the city itself was holding its breath, yearning for a return to ordinary routines. But as people started their day, 2 powerful explosions suddenly shattered the calm. The blasts erupted without warning, sending shockwaves through the city and catching everyone off guard. In an instant, the fragile peace was replaced by chaos and fear. Russian ballistic missiles struck the heart of Kharkiv, targeting the city center. One missile slammed directly into a 5-story residential building, a place where families had just begun to stir, preparing for the day ahead. The impact was devastating. A section of the building collapsed into rubble, turning homes into ruins in a matter of seconds. Walls crumbled, ceilings caved in, and lives were upended in the blink of an eye. Dust and smoke filled the air, making it hard to breathe or see. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the neighborhood, mingling with the cries of the injured and the terrified. The once familiar streets were now unrecognizable, blanketed in debris and fear. Residents and bystanders were thrown into chaos, their ordinary morning transformed into a desperate fight for survival. Some fled the debris in shock, while others rushed to help the wounded, their instincts taking over in the face of disaster. The attack targeted a civilian area, not a military site, making the strike feel especially cruel and senseless. There was no strategic gain, only suffering, loss, and destruction for innocent people. For Kharkiv's people, it was a brutal reminder that nowhere is truly safe. Neighbors clung to each other, comforting loved ones and strangers alike, united by shock and grief in the aftermath of the attack. The trauma of war returned with full force, destroying any fleeting sense of peace the new year might have brought. In the ruins, the city mourned, not just for the homes and lives lost, but but for the hope that was once again stolen away. The missile strike's human cost was immediate and devastating. Rescue workers found the bodies of a mother and her son, killed in the collapse of their home. At least 25 people were wounded, with many requiring hospitalization for serious injuries. Some victims were customers and employees in shops and a cafe on the building's first floor, caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. The attack left families shattered and a community in mourning. Beyond physical wounds, survivors and residents now carry deep psychological scars. The pain of loss and fear lingers, a stark illustration of how civilians bear the heaviest price in this war. In a flash, safety and security were erased for so many. In the aftermath, the Kievsky district was transformed into a haunting scene of devastation. The once bustling streets were now unrecognizable, blanketed in dust and debris, with shattered buildings looming over the chaos. The air was thick with the sounds of distant sirens and the cries of those searching for loved ones. The collapse of a major apartment building left dozens of residents trapped beneath tons of concrete and twisted metal. Families were separated in an instant, and the fear of further collapses loomed over the rescue efforts. From above, the scale of destruction was staggering, with entire sections of the complex reduced to rubble. Emergency teams arrived within minutes, braving the bitter cold and treacherous conditions. They raced against time, knowing that every second counted for those trapped below. The snow and ice made their work even more perilous, but their determination never wavered as they dug through the debris, calling out for survivors. Firefighters and rescuers relied on specialized equipment and highly trained sniffer dogs to locate survivors. Every movement was calculated, as the unstable ruins threatened to collapse further. The teams worked in silence, listening for faint cries or tapping from beneath the rubble, hoping to find signs of life. Each item uncovered, a child's toy, a family photograph, a piece of clothing, served as a poignant reminder of the lives so suddenly disrupted. These small discoveries brought moments of hope and heartbreak, as rescuers paused to reflect on the human stories behind the devastation. The blast's impact extended beyond homes. A nearby shopping center and hospital suffered extensive damage, with more than 100 windows shattered and vital services crippled. Emergency responders rushed to secure these buildings, ensuring that survivors could still receive urgent care. Critical infrastructure was also hit. Heating networks and power grids were knocked out, leaving entire neighborhoods without warmth or electricity in the harsh winter. Residents bundled up in heavy coats, gathering outside damaged buildings, uncertain of when help would arrive. Public transportation ground to a halt, with metro stations closed and buses and trams suspended. For thousands, daily routines were upended, and the city's sense of normalcy was shattered. Yet, amid the destruction, rescue and repair teams pressed on. Volunteers joined professionals, clearing debris, restoring utilities, and distributing aid to those in need. Their tireless efforts brought hope to a community struggling to recover. These collective efforts not only revealed the immense damage, but also highlighted the city's unwavering resolve and the strength of its people in the face of unimaginable adversity. Ukrainian officials swiftly condemned the attack and informed the public. Mayor Ihor Terekhov called it a deliberate act of terror against civilians, emphasizing there were no military targets nearby. Governor Oleh Syniehubov provided updates on casualties and rescue efforts, highlighting Kharkiv's vulnerability due to its location. Both leaders underscored the ongoing threat and called for international support. Their statements placed clear blame on Russia, countering disinformation and rallying support for Ukraine's defense. The unified message was one of resilience and determination to rebuild and protect their city. Instead of despair, Kharkiv's leaders spoke of hope, care for the wounded, and the fight for freedom. Their response guided the community through darkness, assuring residents they were not alone. The city's spirit, they promised, would endure and rise from the rubble. The January 2nd strike was part of a broader pattern of attacks across Ukraine. On the same day, Zaporizhzhia was hit by a large-scale drone assault, damaging homes but causing no casualties. Both sides have escalated long-range strikes, with Ukraine intercepting dozens of Russian drones and Russia claiming to shoot down Ukrainian drones. The war's aerial front lines now reach deep into civilian areas, far from the main battlefields. Diplomacy continues, with U.S.-led talks and cautious optimism from President Zelensky, but core issues remain unresolved. Moscow's hardening stance and ongoing attacks complicate peace efforts. The Kharkiv strike is a grim reminder that, despite negotiations, civilians remain at risk. While diplomats talk, the war's brutality continues on the ground. In today's wars, battles are fought with both weapons and words. After the Kharkiv strike, Ukraine and Russia offered starkly different accounts. Ukrainian officials called it a deliberate Russian attack on civilians, supported by missile fragments and eyewitnesses. International media largely corroborated Ukraine's version, showing the devastation and grief. Russia denied responsibility, claiming the explosion was caused by Ukrainian ammunition stored in the building. This counter-narrative aimed to deflect blame and sow confusion, a common tactic in information warfare. Competing stories turn clear tragedies into disputed events, making truth another casualty of war. The world is left to sift through claims, even as the evidence on the ground tells its own story. Living in Kharkiv means enduring constant anxiety and fear. The threat of sudden attack keeps residents on edge, with every loud noise triggering panic. Air raid sirens interrupt daily life, forcing people to seek shelter at a moment's notice. Children especially suffer from anxiety and trauma, their innocence stolen by war. Playgrounds and schools have become potential targets, and many kids know the sounds of different weapons. The January 2nd attack deepened these wounds, shattering any illusion of safety. Yet the shared trauma has also strengthened community bonds. Despite immense psychological pressure, Kharkiv's people adapt, support each other, and continue living. Their determination to carry on is an act of defiance against terror. It's a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure and find hope, even in darkness. The aftermath of the missile strike brought grief and destruction, but also unity. Families mourned, homes were lost, and the city was shaken once again. Yet neighbors helped neighbors, volunteers provided aid, and rescue workers risked their lives for others. Local leaders responded with resolve, promising to rebuild and defend their home. The attack drew international attention, highlighting the urgent need for support and advanced air defenses. Each act of defiance and solidarity is an investment in a future without fear. Amidst the rubble, hope persists. The hope for peace, for quiet skies, and for children to dream freely. Kharkiv's spirit endures, fueled by the belief that one day, the city will heal. Even in the darkest times, the people's resilience lights the way forward.